And welcome back. Well, Democrats are furious that the Republican Party would dare to challenge the sanctity of an election, but what short memory spans they seem to have. Take a listen.
I rise to object to the fraudulent 25 Florida electoral votes.
Is the objection in writing and signed by a member of the House and a senator?
The objection is in writing, and I don't care that it is not signed by a member of the Senate.
The chair will advise that the rules do care, and the signature of the senator. The signature of a senator is required. The chair will again put that part of the question. Is the objection signed by a senator?
Mr. Vice President, there are gross violations of the Voting Rights Act from Florida. And I object, and it is not signed by a senator.
The chair thanks the gentlewoman from California on the basis previously stated. The point of order may not be received.
That was Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters challenging the results in Florida back in 2000, when there was so much turmoil during that race between George Bush and then Vice President Al Gore. Kudos to Al Gore for keeping his cool and sticking by the rules, which, if you haven't noticed, is exactly what Republicans are doing right now. No laws have been broken, no rules have been violated. The fact of the matter is, Democrats have challenged the electoral votes the last 3 times a Republican was elected: George Bush in both 2000 and 2004, and President Trump in 2016. But apparently, what's good for the goose, no longer good for the gander. Joining me now to discuss, former Maryland congressional candidate and member of the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee, Kim Klacik, as well as former California congressional candidate and Navy veteran Joe Collins. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Kim, I want to start with you. What in the world is happening here? I mean, at some point, you have to start thinking you're, Alice in Wonderland, down the rabbit hole. You have the same people who want to say this is a coup. If this is a coup, what in the world was happening 4 years ago when they were trying to contest the election of President Trump and alleging all manner of Russian collusion, even though while they said they had incontrovertible evidence, they could never actually substantiate it. What say you now in the face of this?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, first of all. Secondly, they do have a short-term memory. I recall when that happened in 2000, and I remember major news outlets had called the race for Al Gore at that time. It actually took a little over a month for them to actually admit that Bush had won. And like you said, in 2016, we saw a lot of people said that they were going to resist. You saw a lot of Twitter bios saying, "Not my president." And then they spent 4 years with the Russian collusion hoax. So here we are, not even 2 months out. And all we're doing, like you said, we're not breaking any laws or any rules. We are questioning the fraudulent videos that we've seen surface over the past month and a half. And I think we have the right to do so.
Now, Joe, I'll come to you because you know the life and times of Maxine Waters quite well. You have an individual who, again, lives by a different code than what she professes to want to hold other people to. What are you feeling about this as she continues to protest and complain about all things related to President Trump and all things Republican?
Well, Joe, I'm going to have to say this. This is the ignorance that we've been having to deal with in predominantly Democratic communities from our Democratic elected officials. They say one thing and then they do another thing. We know that Maxine Waters has never cared about the rules when it comes to anything. And unfortunately, that is the type of officials that we have to deal with on a regular basis. So, I agree with Kim. We are challenging everything that we've seen when it comes to fraudulent elections, and we're doing it by the rules.
Now, to that point, Kim, I'll come back to you because there are many Republicans who have been silent in the efforts made by many of the individuals who feel as if this election was not fair. What do you think needs to happen right now? And do you believe that the stance taken by Senator Hawley may cause a bit of an avalanche where more people may follow in his footsteps now that the first person has raised their hand?
Yes, and I have to say I'm so proud of Holly for coming out and actually taking a stand. I know it took a lot of courage and bravery on his part. I saw on Twitter today that Meadows actually came out and supported him as well. So hopefully we will see more people step up and say something. I know a lot of people are afraid. Obviously, they have constituents that are, saying that it's a fact, we want to move forward, and then they have constituents saying that there is fraud. And so they're trying to choose, and they're thinking of their own political career. But I just want to ask them to please think about the American people and the fact that we deserve a free and fair election.
Well, to that point, we start talking about free and fair elections and looking not just at this election, but beyond. We're looking at the most diverse Republican caucus that we have seen in our lifetime, obviously, arguably in the history of the party. It's unfortunate that the two of you are not a part of that class. But from your perspective now, having run, what is the path forward to make sure that we can reach our full potential as a conservative movement and ensuring that there are more people like yourselves, or perhaps you yourselves, who can wage the fight for conservative values in places where Republicans have previously been unwilling to go?
I think the Republican Party has never been able to reach out into the Black communities because they have never had a lot of Black candidates from the inner cities. But now that you have people like myself, like Kim, and other Black conservatives from the inner cities that are running in these areas, now we have a blueprint to be able to move forward and have an outreach for the Black community from the Republican Party.
Kim, I'll come to you. Same question, about 10 seconds, 15 seconds here. But what are your thoughts right now, the effort that President Trump has made, the work that Black Voices of Trump has done? What do you see as the future, and what are you optimistic about moving forward into 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Joe. I mean, we have new people coming up and stepping up in these urban areas. We are now chipping away. And just so you know, we are started a PAC here in Maryland that will go across the country. It's called Red Renaissance, where we will actually go into more of these communities and recruit more candidates to hopefully run for the GOP party within their neighborhoods. So I'm excited. I think 2021 is going to look great. And I can thank President Trump for turning things around for the GOP.
Got it. Well, have to leave it there. Kim, Joe, thank you guys so much for joining us, and God bless you. Happy New Year. And we're going to talk to you guys both soon.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
All right. Well, several rallies are planned in Washington on January 6th, the day of the Electoral College vote count. So who knows what will happen? Social media sensation Tina Forte is with us coming up on the Chris Salcedo Show. Stick with us.